Extremist movie debate. Extremist movie debate. Extremist movie debate.
It's a D movie.
It's the Extremist movie debate. And tonight we're talking 1993's So I Married an Axe Murderer.
I am Joe.
I'm Ethan, and one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
Let the
Hey,
coin
guys.
decide their fate.
Hey guys, don't axe murder us. There's spoilers ahead.
I hate it.
I love it.
Perfect. Joe, since you love the movie and it holds a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes it rotten. And since you love it, this first question is for you. This comes from Nick Rogers of Sweet101.com. He says, everyone quotes the Scottish accent misanthropy, but at its heart, Axe Murderer is a sweet, funny romance between people trapped in patterns and freed by a positive paradigm shift. It's also the reason we see Mike Myers' true face in film. So, do you think the film did a good job of progressing the characters and having a believable change? You have 1 minute.
I don't know if it's a believable change necessarily, but like the reviewer was saying, there's patterns. So it's this character's finding himself in these certain patterns, and because of his predisposition to this like personality type of getting into relationships and then quickly getting out of them because he has commitment phobia, he finds himself in this like circumstantial movie, and it's the circumstances that are entertaining and what actually push the plot forward in this movie, not necessarily character change. But that's not to say this isn't a good movie, because it's a great movie. It's a really fun movie to see this man in this scenario and how he deals with it.
Okay, thank you. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Look, the man deals with it by being paranoid and scared and eventually ending the relationship just to find false information and then reignite the relationship and then to find that false information was false and then go back on being scared again. Like, that's his whole arc. It doesn't actually progress. No, not at all. And yeah, there is definitely a whole bunch of very offensive Scottish stereotypes. There's actually the most offensive stereotype, which is that all mentally disabled people are dangerous. And that's what this movie is really trying to say.
Okay, Joe, you have 15 seconds to respond.
I mean, like I said, it's not the character change, it's the circumstances that he finds himself in, which you said so yourself. So there isn't a lot of change, and I'm not trying to argue that. So you're arguing against nobody right now. And on top of that, it's a movie. I mean, this is just for fun. It's entertainment.
That's what you said,
Yep.
but that doesn't make it fun to watch.
Go ahead, Ethan. You have 15 seconds.
That was all, is that you can say that, oh, it's a really fun movie because it's all circumstantial, but that actually just makes it kind of a boring movie with flat characters. Like, I think it's pretty clear.
Okay, thank you. Ethan, this next question is for you. This comes from Hal Hinson of the Washington Post. Hal says, it doesn't help matters much that director Thomas Schlamm pays homage to great marital murder mysteries of the past, mostly because the attempts to borrow from the classics are so half-hearted. So how do you think this movie compares to mystery films from the past, and is it considered good based on its own merit? You have 1 minute.
I honestly don't think this movie took into account much of that at all. I think that saying that it borrowed a lot from movies of the past is giving it far too much credit. I feel the movie was conceived poorly, half-heartedly, kind of sloppily, and as you see, like, there was a lot of drama on the set with Mike Myers trying to take over writing credit with his friend from Robbie Cox or whatever his name, Fox, and you know that guy had to sue them through the Writers Guild just to win the custody over his own script. It was a lot of problems on where the script originated, whose ideas were what. And a lot of it shows. You have weird slapstick Mike Myers making dumb faces like SNL, and then you have the story about a murdering sister. It doesn't work. At no point does this movie actually come together to either land a joke or pull at your heartstrings.
Okay, thank you. Joe, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I don't necessarily think it's trying to pull at your heartstrings. And on top of that, I think Mike Myers improvising a lot of stuff and making up lines and kind of seamlessly putting himself and his characters into this movie are great because he plays it pretty straight for the most part. And he's already a wacky, like, stand-up poet, like spoken word kind of guy, so you know that this fits in with his character and who his character is. And so essentially he's putting this character into a very real and paranoid scenario, which is borrowing from the past, because all of the horror stuff and all the scary stuff.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna have to stop you there. I'm sorry. Ethan, you have 15 seconds to respond.
I don't think anybody in the history of life has ever said Mike Myers is already a spoken word poet kind of guy. I don't know where that came from at all.
His character. Did you watch the movie?
You said Mike Myers in himself. However, I do want to talk about his characters and how they are extremely offensive in this. Yes, you
okay,
can make...
we can get to that in a moment. Joe, you have a final
assault
15 to respond.
No, I think Mike Myers' character in this movie, he plays it fairly straight, and it's all the circumstances and the situations that he finds himself in where you find the humor. So yes, some of the slapstick stuff doesn't quite land, but the Scottish father is the funniest part of this movie, and I think that's what is meant to be.
Okay, we're actually gonna open up the floor here. You guys have 4 minutes to discuss back and forth.
Scottish father is the is the funniest part of this movie. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
No, he's the second most offensive part of this movie.
Okay,
The
I'm,
first
so-
most
I'm
offensive-
sorry that your snowflake feelings got hurt watching this movie from the 1990s, but
Look, I acknowledge that it's a different time.
stuff that's
and
not
a lot of those
politically
things
correct
probably
is
landed.
funny because it's shocking. Shocking humor can be funny if you're not always already walking
Yeah,
on
here's the
eggshells
one
and you don't
thing.
want to
If he
offend
were actually
everybody.
Scottish, that would be different. If he were, Scottish in real life, had grown up
Mike
in a
Myers
Scottish
is
home.
Scottish in
Nope,
real life.
he is Canadian. He loves hockey and donuts, so go
I have no
suck
idea.
it.
I had no idea.
Yes. So yeah, you've got that. But more importantly, mentally challenged sister kills people with an axe. It's exactly the same as a bunch of Democrats
hold
trying
on.
to
So
take
you're
away
saying-
the
you're
Second
saying-
Amendment
you're
gun
saying-
rights of all the mentally challenged people after
Ethan,
Sandy Hook.
hold on.
It's exactly the same.
You're saying-
ACLU
hold
got
you're-
on that
you're
and
saying-
said
hold
this
on,
is
you're
not
saying-
acceptable.
You're saying mentally challenged when she has like mental imbalances. So are you talking about like
I'm not saying that she can't read or learn.
Yeah, can you actually specify what you mean when you say mentally
No,
challenged?
because the movie doesn't take the
'Cause she has
effort
mental
to
illness. She has
specify.
mental
If
illness.
maybe the movie
Because
brought
she
forth
has-
a manila
she has this
document and
anger
showed
stuff,
us exactly
and you're
what it
throwing
was
this
that she was
I think what
hospitalized
you're
for.
doing is even more offensive because you're just throwing a blanket statement on just a mass amount of people, and you're not specifying in the least.
Just like the Dems did with the Second Amendment taking away all of the...
So you're saying because she's mentally challenged, she should be withheld from everything?
No, I am saying it is
person-
offensive
this is
to
a
say
person,
that a mentally challenged person is inherently
Stop calling her
violent.
mentally challenged. This is a person with mental instabilities, and she's dangerous. There are people out there
Why
that
is
are
she dangerous?
She's dangerous because she has jealousy issues.
Why can't she just be a mean person who is dangerous? Why does she have to have these irregularities and emotions?
Oh, can you specify what's in the movie that's making her mentally challenged, according to you?
Don't worry, I'll tell her nothing happened. Wait, Rose, nothing did happen. I'm gonna make you $7 pancakes with bacon. Just kidding, I have Fruit Loops.
You are jumping to conclusions because she's eccentric. Because this character is eccentric, there was nothing actually in the movie.
It would be
that's
one
saying
thing if she
that
was
has mental
eccentric and then she was harmless,
imbalances.
but to say that she's eccentric and then to make her a triple murderer
Because maybe
and
she
attempted
is just
murderer.
mean. Maybe she just is mean. Okay, that's the thing.
So you're saying she does it all as a ruse?
You are jumping to conclusions and just calling her mentally challenged.
I am putting puzzle pieces together that the movie has laid out on the floor for me.
You were putting
and
puzzle.
I am offended by
Your
it.
puzzle pieces are you're throwing a blanket over an entire group of people and saying that this movie is offensive when you're
Like
just
the
doing
movie
same thing.
does.
You're being a regressive left right now. You are not letting anybody explore the issues at hand because you don't want to offend anybody. And that is regressive, and that is the problem.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you guys there. It's getting a little too hostile for my taste. What do you guys really feel about the movie?
I like this movie.
Eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Sorry.
no, it's not in the least mad. No, it's not as funny as I was expecting. It's a lot darker than I was expecting. Mike,
That dark?
I thought. I mean,
You said that, but I didn't think it was that dark.
I thought at the end, when she's like actually trying to murder him, and they're running around like
But then
that.
they spent like 30 seconds just doing ball jokes.
No, I think that's kind of the issue. Is like you have this kind of like the darker for Mike Myers. You have a darker movie.
Sure.
But it's still Mike Myers being Mike Myers. He plays it a lot straighter than normal, but yeah, no, it's fine. I laughed.
The best part of this movie is Alan Arkin trying to be aggressive.
Yeah,
Hands down, that's the funniest part of the movie.
I want to change mine. Alan Arkin's the funniest part of this.
Holy shit.
Full disclosure, this is one of my favorite comedies.
No, and like
It's so I love this movie. Like my favorite is when the undercover cop Tony is interviewing Harriet because he thinks she's the murderer, and she's
Yes.
like, "No, Rose is the murderer. She's going after."
yes.
And he's like, "You're trying to tell me," and she's like, "Listen, you hear." Dunk. Oh, off from the roof. Like that gets me. The entire
was
movie is
great.
perfect to me.
No,
All of the stuff with him and
you
his
guys glossed
as
over
Captain,
the entire Phil Hartman sequence of him as the
Oh my gosh.
That was
the
fine.
tour guide.
I was
pretty funny.
like, he was great in it, but I was so bothered of why do these people who live in San Francisco go to Alcatraz on the dumb tour? Like, nobody does that in San Francisco.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I've been to
don't
San
know.
Francisco. I know
Okay,
people
so
who live in San Francisco.
but you're not from there, so you can't say.
But I know people who are. Nobody goes to that.
That's like saying anybody who lives in Seattle doesn't go to Pike Place. Like,
No, that's like saying anybody who lives in Seattle doesn't go and have a dinner reservation on top of the Space Needle. And I think that is
Mike,
an accurate statement.
it's not, because when my mom went there, Steven and Michael took her to the Space Needle.
Because she was a tourist.
And from Spokane, who goes to Seattle multiple times a year.
Yeah, but they're not
it's
taking it. But they're not like, oh, hey, friend from out of town, let's go see Alcatraz. We're like, you know what? We got a couple hours off, guys. Let's go to Alcatraz. But Phil Hartman, yeah, is great in it. Absolutely.
No, there's a lot of ideas, and I think this movie like plays it straight enough to where like a lot of the slapstick stuff would depreciate over time. But I think multiple viewings of this, you would catch a lot of like subtleties that are really funny.
I thought it actually held up really well with age.
No, it did well. So
Yeah, I saw this movie when I was like 6, and I'd like walk around the house reciting the woman poem to my parents. They hated it that a 6-year-old was saying they made me horny.
well, I think that's the other thing. Like a lot of people I talked to saw this movie when they were like before 10. Like they watched it as children, and it's like it's one of their nostalgia movies where they're just like, oh, this was what it was probably one of the first like adult comedies that you saw, or a lot of my friends who like cite this movie as one of their favorites. It's probably one of the first adult movies they saw, so they just laughed along with their parents, and then as they grew up, they got more and more and more of the jokes, so they have this like bond with it, I think. So having just watched it for the first time,
I also thought Nancy Travis killed it. I thought she did great. Like, not as in bombed it, but she did an excellent job.
she's
Yeah.
the girl.
Yes, the girl.
yeah, Harriet.
She was good.
Yeah, she was really good. I mean, to play this character, when you haven't seen this movie, you have to come off as, I might be crazy, I might want to kill my husband, and then at the same time, she's somebody who's just afraid of abandonment because of everything her sister set up. Like, there was a lot of layers going on in her character that this movie doesn't necessarily deserve to have that much depth of, and she did well.
Yeah, and Amanda Plummer, always crazy.
She's always good.
always good.
Yeah.
I would give this movie a 7 out of 10 lightning strikes, and no thunder.
Yep, 7 out of 10, no thunder.
9 out of 10, a lot of thunder.
You can go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you like this at all. Comment below if you were mad at us or anything. And then if you'd like us to do a movie in the future, or you want to request, go ahead and comment that as well. You can also go ahead and comment a question you would like us to talk about said movie, and Unpaid Intern Jeff will read that on the episode, and we will debate it.
All right, thank you and good night.
Thanks.